Yeah, that's right, everybody. Very excited for today's episode of the Joe Kilgallon podcast. I'm Joe Kilgallon, obviously. Thank you for everyone for subscribing to the YouTube channel. You guys are the shit. Big shout out to my Patreon supporters. Subscribers, supporters? We'll say supporters. I like the way that sounds better. Thank you so much. Just added a bunch of bonus content. If you're listening to the podcast for the first time in a while, I've got bonus content up with Ryan Dempster, former Chicago Cubs pitcher, current MLB analyst, also host of Off the Mound with Ryan Dempster on the Marquee Sports Network. Lisa Traeger from Netflix, Comedy Central. My man Ed Towns, Comedians You Should Know producer. So I got a lot of really cool bonus stuff there, as well as with CJ Toledano that I just added. He is an executive producer at House of Highlights and also a great stand-up comedian in his own right. Today's episode I'm very excited for. I have a woman on that I've known for, I want to say like over a decade now. I feel like maybe 2012, 8 years or so. She's great. This is one of the coolest people I've ever met. Got a lot of great stories with her. She is co-owner of a place called Fly Club Chicago, which we'll be talking a lot about that. It's a pole dancing / yoga studio, as you saw by her amazing pole dancing moves in the intro. So enough about me. Without further ado, let's bring on our guest, the one, the only, Caitlin Marco. What is up, Caitlin?
Hey. Hi, Joe. Thanks for having me. This is really exciting.
Is this the first time you've ever been on a podcast?
Yes. One that matters. Yes.
Yes, that's the answer. The only answer there. Well, I'm excited
100%.
about that. That's pretty cool then. I'm also excited because I feel like you're such a well-rounded person. A lot of times I have comedians on, and comedians are so one way, or, they're interesting, they're funny, of course, but like I feel like have a well-balanced worldview in the sense that I don't think a lot of people would assume someone who's like an expert in yoga and pole dancing is also like a diehard hockey fan. Or
This is
like
true.
or a diehard stand-up comedy fan. So you got a lot of that going on.
This is
And
true.
I feel like a bad friend right now because I can't remember what your like background is. I know you like graphic design and like I know you did a really good job.
Yes.
I know you worked for a great company. But what exactly? Give us a little bit of your background.
Yeah. So my muggle job, my daytime is tech marketing. So I work for a tech company and I do marketing for that. So we're marketing like a technology solution, a security technology solution. So the nerddom gets even more progressive to other businesses. So that's what I do on my daytime.
And that's why they sent you to San Francisco because you were in San Fran for like a year or so, right?
They did. Yeah, the industry is out in San Francisco. Like all the tech giants are out there. And so that's where the industry is. But then because I work in tech, I got to come back and be able to work from Chicago, but still
That's
work for a tech company. Yeah,
Work from
which
home.
is nice.
Did I screw up by saying San Fran? Do the people who live there, they don't like that, right?
Everyone booed right now when they heard San Fran.
Oh, too bad for them.
It's the city.
By the way, I realize I am so fucking white on this camera right now.
You are white.
I'm trying a new lighting, and I think I was testing it earlier when there was like sunlight pouring through, so now I'm like, damn, I am fucking white.
You're
I'm like a
reflective
ghost.
tape is what I like to call it.
I am a little bit. Maybe I'll mess with the lighting if it bothers me anymore. So, but I want to get right to your pole dancing studio, which it's going to happen one day. We're going to combine comedy and pole dancing, and it's going to blow the world away.
It is.
Because
Absolutely.
people do burlesque and stand up, and that's kind of like a cool, sexy thing.
Yes.
Take it up a notch for pole dancing.
Yes.
You are co-owner of a pole dancing studio in the South Loop here in the great city of Chicago called the Fly Club, or is it just Fly Club?
It's just Fly Club, but I like the pronoun on top of it. The
Well,
makes it sound regal.
We got a Justin Timberlake it in the movie Social Network. Drop the
Yeah. Get rid of
Fly
it.
Club is way better. I screwed that up. So, what got you into pole dancing?
A lot of things. So one, I've never been a dancer or a gymnast or a gym freak, and I've never
Can I
been
stop you for a second?
Yes.
I love that we could hear sirens in the background.
Sorry.
No, it's funny to me because on my YouTube channel today I posted
Yeah.
a joke about the murders in Chicago,
Oh yes.
about Chicago's murder rate, and then
Yes.
here you are in downtown Chicago, or just
Yeah.
outside it, whatever. I'm not telling people where you live.
We're
And
killing it.
Yes. Yeah, you remember the punchline. There you go. One of the punchlines. And it's funny that you got the ambulance in the background. Anyway, without further ado, so back to pole dancing.
Yeah, it's rough life out here in Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was I doing? Oh, yeah, so I've never had like a fitness background, and I've always been like a string bean and like really kind of frail and not strong. And so I had started yoga and I loved that and it did a lot for my strength. But I was looking for like a more feminine movement, I should say. And I also wanted to be able to like out chin up my guy friends. And I needed something that would combine those two. That was like not going to the gym and I could like beat up my guy friends. So that combination kind of landed me at pole. So that's kind of why I started it.
Do you want to fight? Is that what you're trying to tell me right
yes.
now?
Yes, I'm ready. Yeah.
I mean,
6 years of
I
pole. Oh no. 6 years ago when we met, you for sure would have won. Now, nah, not a chance.
Here's what you need to understand though. I could beat up a lot of people who have way more skill than I do because I'm fucking crazy, Caitlin.
You are. I remember your
that,
bar fights.
Yes.
Were you like
shit that other people won't?
Yeah, you almost broke somebody's neck over something.
Yeah.
Drunken fight.
Which time? I don't even know which time.
The time I think you lost your wedding ring.
That time, yeah, that's true. I did almost break someone's neck. But,
for sure
it's cold outside. Don't start fights when it's fucking cold out.
Don't. It's slippery out.
Very slippery. So I would have been on him, really. I feel like if the authorities would have came, I would have been like, what's this guy doing? You got a polar vortex going on?
It's fair game.
Loud?
Under freezing, it's fair game.
Yeah, there's a whole level. I think self-defense is important, and I'm sure you would beat my ass. Obviously, I'm kidding a little bit. But I do think some people overestimate that. Sometimes if you're just a little bit out there and you're not afraid to do the things, because there are people who train all day long in different self-defense disciplines.
So true.
And then when push comes to shove, when it really gets down to time to it, there's an old adage that they say in combat sports, you can plan all you want, but everything changes when you get hit in the face. You get popped in the head and it's like your whole game plan goes out the window.
I believe that was in The Art of War. Yeah, I think you're right. For sure.
Sounds like The Art of War. Yeah, for sure. Okay, though, Pole, so you wanted to combine. So when you said feminine movement, though, I would have thought yoga seems very feminine to me.
Yeah, I mean, it for sure is. But historically, like the creation of yoga was actually a fitness regimen and also like a philosophy that catered to men. It was for men's bodies. So even though it's been adopted by women in the Western side of things, it was a male form of like movement for them. So
why do you think guys got away from it then?
I don't know.
The unitard type stuff?
It's funny, like every guy friend, and I'm going to throw you into that as well, is like they all done like sports and they were taught to stretch poorly. And then as they like matriculated through like high school sports, through college sports, and then either intramurals or they're going professional, like everyone like stopped stretching right. And so there's like this yoga, which is like a perfect exercise for them. And it trains their like mental aptitude on top of it, that they're like, that's for ladies. Nah, I'm good. It's kind of.
Yeah, I think more and more people are getting over that. I think a lot of professional. Yeah, slowly. But you hear about a lot of professional athletes, football players, running backs especially, I believe, who have they've trained in ballet even. And they just want to be light on their feet.
Yeah.
And the idea of bulk versus lean muscle, I think the trend is going towards leaner muscle instead of bulking up.
Yeah. Yes, unless you're like a linebacker.
Yeah, I mean, I got real stiff in high school. I remember the coach even mentioned it. I was working out for football, and then when baseball season was rolling around, I got really stiff.
Yeah.
And I remember my coach saying, like, maybe you should be, kind of like, he was kind of being a dick. He was telling me I should just go maybe focus more on football, which maybe I should have. I think it's weird because I grew up being like really, really good at baseball, but then I slowly could have gone something in football, but then I broke my leg, and that was that.
Should have done yoga.
But yeah, I definitely think I was, what's that?
You should have done yoga.
That's where I'm getting at. Is like I should have totally. Although a broken bone, you can't stretch a broken bone.
No, but you can. Yeah, but there's like scar tissue involved, and then you're opening up the range of motion again, and then it's like I don't know. It's like healthy physical therapy that's over a longer period of time, right? You don't have like your short bursts of physical therapy. Like yoga is like a daily practice at your own pace type of thing.
Yeah, no, you're right. And you have also known me well enough to know that even though you're an expert, I'm going to throw some shit that's going to doubt everything you say.
Bring it.
I'm just an asshole. No, I know. I think so. All right, I want to talk about the pole dancing, but I feel like we got to go off of yoga as the foundation here.
For me, it was. Yeah, absolutely. Like all the strength that I gathered, it translated itself to pole. Like very much, and then pole complemented it from like the arm strength because you really need strong arms, upper body in order to be able to like hold on. It's very similar to rock climbing, which I also like got into. It all kind of played together. But on the feminine movement side of things, like when you enter the pole world, like it's very unfamiliar because like you're holding onto this giant metal rod. It's not a normal thing that you do. Did she say that? Who was she giving hand jobs to?
I don't know. That would be pretty weird, though.
That would be like
giant metal
RoboCop.
Rod.
Like
RoboCop would probably. I would hope he would have some sort of metal rod. It'd be very sad if he was just
the
like
Terminator?
a metal Ken doll down there.
Oh, that's so disappointing.
That would be.
That absolutely would be.
I can't remember the RoboCop movies, but I don't remember him getting down with anyone. He was kind of always
Not at all.
back into his real life. Terminator, you'd think it would be. Now Wolverine, his boner would be interesting.
That's interesting.
Because I don't know, I think it's probably still just a regular dick.
It is.
The metal to it. I wonder if the metal, the adamantium, did it get around it?
Yeah, that's bone graft though. Like
bone graft.
Not boner graft, but bone graft.
Well, see, now someone needs to rewrite it so it gets boner graft.
Yeah, I think Hugh Jackman needs to redo that movie completely.
I think if I were volunteering, there you go. If I was volunteering for the Weapon X program, I would be like, what can we do in the dick game if I'm going to risk everything?
Yeah,
But
if we're going to make all these improvements.
Exactly. I
feel
like that'd be part of it, right? Yeah. So you're on this giant metal rod.
Yeah, so like you do. But it's like, it's really foreign and your grip strength is not there yet. And sort of like holding on, everyone's like kind of sliding all over the place trying to hold on. And so that's your arms start to get engaged. But the sexy movement kind of comes in play because it's just like, it's fun. And you forget that you're working out and you're just doing like this, like, you know, these sexy twirls and like floor work is a big part of it. And a lot of like, you know, loving on your body, all that stuff. So it disguises itself as a workout and really like kind of tunes you into like this like feminine energy that you have, and how do you display that into like this public or kind of, you know, outward expression around the pole.
On that notion, what do you say to like, you know, dumb guys out there, many of whom probably listen to this podcast? I love you dumb guys. I'm often a dumb guy too. What do you say to those dudes who are like, oh yeah, what kind of damn female empowerment? What are they doing gliding on poles? Huh? Isn't that what strippers do? Like, what would you say to those dudes?
Yeah, that's definitely the norm, and that's why pole dancing as like a fitness is so like taboo, because it's like, oh, are you a stripper? Are you a stripper in training? Oh my god, I'm so funny. But it's really more about like taking that movement back from men as like a male form of entertainment, and more of like a way for women to express themselves. That's not for the man, you know. So
that's pretty great.
Owning your sexuality for yourself and for no one else. And then what you do with that, if you want to take it to a strip club.
Oh shit! Sorry.
Did you lose me? I'm back. Are you fixing your lighting?
For a split second there. No, I wasn't fixing the lighting. You know what it was? There was like some sort of crumb thing that was on the keyboard that had been bothering me, and I went to like flick it, and when I did that, I hit enter, and you went away for a split second. Oh, but you were back. So female empowerment.
Yes.
I love the idea of taking something back, because you know that's what the N word is all about, and essentially that's why black people could say it and white people can't, and
100%.
That's great. White people, we should not say that. You shouldn't want to say it, and that's what it's about. If I could quote a great friend of ours, really, Danny Callis, wonderful Chicago comedian, everyone, and founder of Comedians You Should Know, the greatest stand-up comedy show in the history of stand-up comedy shows, independently produced. He had a great joke about how he had a friend growing up named Cheeseburger Tooth. And it was okay for him and his friends to call that guy Cheeseburger Tooth, but if someone outside the group called him Cheeseburger Tooth, they weren't having it.
Yeah.
Because it's like, and so women are like, you know what? You're saying pole dancing is like us serving you or whatever fucking bullshit, you know, macho stuff. Well, we're going to own it. We're going to take it back, and it doesn't have to be for you. We could also rock this pole too. I'm into it. I like it.
100%.
You know what I propose?
What?
I want to come down to the pole dancing studio.
Yes, please.
And I want to film you teaching me some stuff.
Oh my god.
Because I think the comedy there in the content, I'm just saying looking for the content, is going to be pretty great.
When can we do this? What are you doing tomorrow? Fridays are tough. What are you doing Saturday?
This weekend isn't good, but sometime next week we could set something up.
Okay. Well, we're doing a drone photo shoot on the rooftop on August 1st. So we could totally get a drone video of you flying around on the pole.
That sounds. I mean, I'll bring
Yeah.
a camera too, and then we want to do this right. We get multiple camera shoot going.
Oh yeah, you need multiple angles, edit it, and splice it together.
I just bought
It'll
a
be
key
very
light.
Steven Spielberg.
All right, I'm into that. Cool.
Yeah, I
So,
love it.
what urged you to start your own business though? Because a lot of people have hobbies, you know, or
Yeah.
things that they're like really passionate about, yoga / pole dancing for you. But
100%.
what made you say, the hell with it? I'm gonna get into this game. I'm gonna start my own small
Yeah,
business.
that had a lot to do with I'm entrepreneurial at heart. The other side of it is that my pole dance instructor, who's now my partner at Fly Club, she had been teaching out of her living room for like 10 years or so. That's where I had started taking classes, out of her living room. She has like 3 poles in there, so she was holding
That's a
classes.
sick living room right there, huh?
Yeah, it was
I mean,
awesome.
you walk into that living room, you gotta be pretty excited.
Yeah, like it's going down. Like you gotta come to play. It's no small feat.
And I met her, a wonderful person.
Yes, yeah, she's my soulmate. She's the yin to my yang. So when I had moved to San Francisco, like she had still been teaching out of her house, and it was coming to the point where I was ready to move back, and she was ready to like get out of her living room. Because one of the things with pole is that like when you do competitions and you do performances, you have height requirements for the poles, and you have to have distance requirements for your static pole and your spin pole. So in her living room, like as accommodating as it was to be able to teach, it wasn't competition level. And she competes. She's absolutely amazing, and she's been competing for like around 15 years now or so. And she'd have to always go and rent space from other studios or travel the world to find studios that were competition ready with the right poles, the right height, all that stuff. So she was ready to move out. So it kind of just became this like perfect cluster of timing where I was coming back to Chicago. I was ready to start my own thing. I had just sold my startup. And so she was ready to get out of her house. And while it was absolutely hectic and pure chaos, but it worked. And so that's kind of where we kind of met in the middle.
You had a startup that you sold? I didn't know that.
I was a part of a startup
You're part of
that
it.
we
Cool.
sold. Yeah.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah. It was crazy. So
What was the startup? It was another tech thing that you were doing?
It was another tech thing. It was in application security, nerd here.
So application securities would be
yeah.
like protecting the applications from like being hacked and stuff like that?
100%.
All right,
Yes.
cool. I mean, I'm pretty ignorant to a lot of tech stuff, so.
Do you remember that Ashley Madison breach where like that sugar
Yeah.
daddy matchmaker you can
It
like
cost
cheat
me
on?
my first marriage.
Yeah,
No, I'm
that
kidding.
exact
I've only
one.
been married once, everybody.
Yeah.
No, I do remember that Ashley Madison breach. It was,
Yeah.
Ashley Madison is a website, for those of you who don't know,
Mm-hmm.
that specializes in people who want to cheat on their husbands and wives.
Yeah.
But it's mostly wives, right? Are there women signed up for it too?
I mean,
There have to be.
not as many, but yeah. But it's that sort of like, had they had this product, they wouldn't have had this exposure. The data wouldn't have gotten leaked and all this stuff. So it's like that use case is what the company protected
I always
against.
wondered though, when people do a hack like that, they're just looking for big names. Were they really selling out like
Yeah.
Mike Johnson, who lives in St. Charles, Illinois, and just, you know, was trying to look for something on the side, which is a piece of shit move, don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
who knows? Maybe his wife was a horrible person, was beating him every day, and he's
This
just
is-
like,
This
I
is
just want
true.
someone to
She
cuddle with
deserved
me.
it.
yeah, yeah, sure. Gotta spit it around every now and then. Because it's always the dude that's the worst.
It is.
sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you
leak
did.
that.
You
Leak it on Facebook. Tell everyone. There's.
one of
I can
those
go
days.
down a rabbit hole with hacker stuff, but even like your Joe Smiths of the world, their email addresses are they cost money on the you can sell them for money on the black market to have that email address, and then that hacker can take that email address and then go after your bank account and just like attack everything. So go after bank accounts, go after like insurance, change your social security number, like can just go at it. So even if it's not a high profile person, they can go.
So you could you hack if you wanted to?
I have been taught some things. Yes. Yes.
How about that? Hacker / entrepreneur / yoga / pole dancer
I know.
expert. I'm giving you the expert status.
Thanks.
You consider yourself an expert, right?
I would say I'm advanced. Yes.
Advanced. That's a good. I like that.
Yeah.
One. Okay. Hockey
Always
enthusiast.
improving for sure.
I'm always finding out something new about you, Kaylin, and color
a
me
lot.
impressed every time.
Oh, thanks.
All right, so you're going for it. You're looking for a location. You and your partner. and a little bit more. How'd you Fly Club, by the way? Badass name.
Thank you. We were back and forth on the name a lot. Our original name was supposed to be Aerial Graffiti. That was our first love. And then
That sounds aerial graffiti, though. I get it. But
Yeah.
to me, that sounds like a person.
oh, I
Do you
didn't
know
think
how,
about
like,
that. Yeah.
I don't know if pole dancers do this, but in the world of burlesque, they have a burlesque name.
Yes.
Like Adam Burke, who's a comedian who's been on the podcast a bunch.
He has a
talks about
burlesque
this.
name.
He has no. His girlfriends are burlesque dancers. She's
Oh, God, I got
Eva
so excited.
LaFiva.
Ooh,
Eva LaFiva, which is a cool name. And then there's, I know another woman named Porcelain Pistol. So they have
that's
like
a
names
great
like that.
name.
It's cool, right?
Oh
so
my gosh.
I think Michelle Lamore, she's like the queen.
Yes. Yes.
She's the best. If you guys don't know who Michelle Lamore is, look her up. She's like the queen bee of burlesque. Anyhow, aerial graffiti, if there were to be names for pole dancers, aerial graffiti, that's a badass one right there.
That is a badass name.
Or
And you're right.
trapeze
There
artist.
there are like we do have stage names for pole. Like my partner's name is Divine M. She competes under Divine M.
I like that.
Yeah, it's very very fitting. She is
What's-
quite defying.
What is Caitlin Marco's name?
I kind of don't want to tell you.
Why? Are you embarrassed or?
A little bit. No, I love it
If you
aggressively.
don't want, is it
No,
me
I'll
first?
tell
Can
you. I'll
me
tell
out
you.
there?
No, I'll tell
Okay.
you. It's Black Mamba, but this is why.
Because it sounds like cultural appropriation already.
Exactly. Right off the gate, you're like, okay. So it's from Kill Bill. So in my pole journey, we would have what we call free dances, and it's like you put on music, put on your favorite song, and like the stage is yours, the poles are yours, like dance it out. And the feedback when we were in class and I would be doing my free dances is that I I dance kind of like an assassin. And that like I'm gonna kill you. Like the eye contact. I don't know what it is, but it's very like
Eye
Uma
contact.
Thurman Kill Bill style. Yes.
Eye
And
contact's big, by the way. That's good. That's good
it's
dancing.
very like, you gotta do it. And then with my background in like in Japanese and having studied with monks and all that thing, it's just like Uma Thurman was like my spirit animal, and so therefore Kill Bill, Black Mamba came up. So I started competing under Black Mamba, and when we formed our first competition team. We all adopted a Mamba name. So my pole team is Black Mamba, Joe Mamba, and then Gucci Mamba was my competition team. And we came and we just like crushed it. We medaled. Everyone was like, "Who's the Mambas?" It was very funny. But yeah, it's very much a thing that we
Did I
we
hear
do.
you say you trained under monks?
I
Or was that in Kill
studied
Bill?
under monks
You
in
studied under
Japan.
monks? In
Yes.
Japan.
Yes.
Fuck.
That's where the yoga and the meditation and stuff comes from, for sure.
I didn't know you were that deep into it.
Yeah, rabbit
I
hole.
knew that you studied in Japan. That's phenomenal.
Yeah,
What
it
was
was
that like?
It was incredible. It was like one of those like life forming moments where like you come out of it and you're like, oh, I'm a cool person and I have unique thoughts and I should like act on them. Like had so much clarity coming into a country where at first I didn't really understand the language, so I wasn't being marketed to. Every thought I had was like of my own. And then you go into this world of like, meditation and silence and reflection. And you just come out on the other side like a much clearer version of yourself, which is, I want everyone to have that experience, which is why yoga is so like foundational for me. And the meditation, obviously.
Yeah, meditate. That's where I'm going to go with meditation right now. That's my follow-up question for you. You've known me for a pretty long time, like we said, like
Yes.
8 to 10 years or so.
Yes.
Do you think I would benefit from meditation?
No. And here's why, because you're a comic.
Really?
And I don't want you to overthink things.
Oh, I would have thought you would have said, hell yeah, you should definitely meditate and all this kind of stuff.
Literally, I think everyone should meditate. I honestly do. Everyone should meditate and find that space, especially if you have full schedules and like you are a dad. And so having that time for yourself to like reflect on or empty, I don't say empty your mind, but slow down your thought patterns is like taking a vacation without having to take a vacation. So I believe everyone should do it. But the practice with meditation, it's impactful if you're compassionate with yourself. It can be harmful if you use meditation as a way to like constantly put on these like negative thought tracks and like I'm gonna have time to meditate, and then you don't get out of your like negative habits. You're not like opening up your awareness to things. So as a performer, I would say as long as you use it in a tool that's like helpful for you and it doesn't dissuade you from like overthinking things, then for sure.
So your concern was, as a comedian, it would put me in a state of overthinking, and that's probably not beneficial.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I do have a follow-up, though.
Okay.
This is interesting to me because I podcasted earlier this week with CJ Toledano. I don't know if you've ever seen him.
Yes, super funny.
Yeah, good dude.
Yeah.
He recently married Megan Gailey, who I know you're a fan of. When I was talking to him, I said, I'm like, dude, because we were talking about his journey from, just being a stand-up comedian in Chicago to writing for Jimmy Fallon and working in the world of late night and then getting into like the world of sports and everything. And I was like, oh, it's a lot of like law of attraction stuff. And he kind of looked at me like, I'm not really into that. I go, yeah, but I'm not saying you are into that.
Right.
But, I've read up enough about the law of attraction and seen some video stuff that it is interesting to me how often people tell their stories of success, and a lot of it does go by that book of like, getting in the right mindset and your focus on what you can control and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So are you into the law of attraction?
I mean, from a meditation standpoint, for sure, of visualizing things that you want to create for yourself or let go for yourself, because it's a lot like sports. Like you try to visualize that thing that you want, and then your body replays or your mind replays it, and it does like set itself in your body, so that whatever that intention was will eventually come through, as long as you kind of keep with that practice. So, from a meditation perspective, for sure, I definitely believe it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when I was talking to him about it, we both were like, yeah, a lot of that secret stuff is kind of bullshit, because the secret was like, think of a new bike and a new bike will show up. It's like, no, that's not how that works. You have to work towards it. You have to put the work in. Jim Carrey I saw like a YouTube video with Jim Carrey, and he was talking to Oprah back in like 1996 or 95 or something. And she was like, so I heard you used to drive up to Mulholland Drive and just like, visualize being a success. He's like, yeah, I would. Every night I would just kind of like park and stare out at the city. Which, by the way, if you guys have ever been to Los Angeles or ever plan on going to LA, take that drive up Mulholland, get out, and it's gorgeous, right? It's really cool. And he would just like imagine being like this movie star. And then he wrote himself a check like in 1985 or something, or 87, for acting services rendered. He wrote himself a check for $10 million. And he gave himself until like September of 95 to cash it. And he said it was in my wall, and it just kept deteriorating because it was in there for so long. It was just like folded up, like just stuffed in there. And then he found out like 2 months before that he was going to get $10 million for Dumb and Dumber or The Mask. And so it's like, that's insane.
Wow.
But then he says, yes, I really believe in the power of visualization and self-belief and all that kind of stuff. But you also have to work towards it. He goes, you can't just visualize and then go eat a sandwich. You know, I was visualizing and then putting the work in to make the dream come true. Yeah. So I think that's where people kind of get, some people hear the law of attraction like, it's bullshit, The Secret, that's nothing. I'm like, yeah, that I can understand. You can't just imagine a belly full of food and have a belly full of food. No, that's insane. But you definitely, I think whatever you focus on, you are going to get better at.
Absolutely. It's just, it's practice.
It's practice. What I teach my 3-year-old son a lot. He could write his full ABCs, which at 3 is very, very impressive.
Huge.
And he writes very good letters. I'll text you like pictures. I take pictures of some of the stuff. He makes a better 5 than I've ever made in my entire life. Every number 5 I've ever done looks like the letter S. Always.
I still do. I look at it and I'm like, that's almost an 8. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, he's got the perfect line across down. It's pretty great. And I remember when he was starting, he'd get a little frustrated, like, I don't want to do it. I'm like, no, I go, whatever you're working on, you're going to get better. Were you better today than yesterday? And I think that's like not the one, I think I give a lot of good dad advice, but that's like the one I'm most, I wish this was drilled into my head when I was a little bit younger.
Yeah.
Because you hear practice makes perfect, but that just sounds like a slogan. It sounds like a poster in your first grade class. You want to see it being applied. I wish someone would say, hey, this is better than this yesterday. Now look at this. And that's what's nice about technology. I can take pictures on my phone and show them, here's last week, here's the today. And then you
Yeah.
can see the evidence,
See the progress.
which we
It's-
didn't really have back then.
What was that book about the 1%? I can't remember who wrote about it. I was just having a conversation with somebody a couple of weeks ago about the 1%, where you get just 1% better every single day. And over time, that adds up to over 300% in a year. That's huge. That's huge gains. Just 1% every day. That comes up a lot when I'm talking to people about flexibility. Like, I'm not a flexible person, and I never have been. But this,
You're not?
Yeah, not naturally flexible.
I've seen your videos. Everyone, obviously, I want people to follow you on Instagram and support what you do. Tell everyone your Instagram right
Yeah.
now. I usually save it to the end, but let's get at the 30-minute mark too.
Thanks. It's Mad Dog Marco.
Mad Dog Marco.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I'm
Thank
going to
you.
write that down as well, so everyone knows. But you're not flexible, which is shocking to hear. I've seen your Instagram at Mad Dog Marco, and it's amazingly flexible. What do you mean you're not flexible?
Yeah, it's 1% every day, getting better, like stretching and strengthening. Strengthening is key, but a little bit more every single day in order to get those gains. Because there are people in the world who can just like straight up put their ass on their head, and they have medical
that guy.
conditions. Most of them are contortionists.
Is
But
that a
for
medical
like,
condition? Real quick, I didn't mean to cut you off. I've never
Yeah.
heard that. That's a medical condition to be a contortionist? Like,
It-
you're not supposed to be able to do that? They're not
no,
the best
to that
people?
degree,
They're
usually
freaks, like I thought?
not. Yeah, usually they have
Should we call
like
them freaks when we see them on the street?
hypermobility. Yeah, we can call them freaks. They know it. They don't care.
You look like you have long arms to me. Do you have long arms?
As a person,
Yes.
You can't tell.
I don't
Arms are
have,
long.
I think my wingspan's normal, but I actually have very short legs.
You're
just
you're over 6 feet tall. How
I
do
know,
you
I'm 6'1" with shoes on, almost 6'2".
do you
But
just
I-
have
yeah,
like
I
5
do.
feet of torso? What's happening?
I have a very long torso. My father, who's even taller than me, he's like 6'3", 6'4". He's got a very long torso. My wife, who you know, Nicole, she's
Yeah.
5'6". If we go like
She's
hip
great.
bone to hip bone,
Yeah.
my legs are only like 1.5 inches longer than hers.
What?
And I'm 7 inches taller than her. Yeah, I'm tall from the waist up.
How do your shirts fit? Where do you shop?
They don't fit that great. I always feel like they could fit better.
They're like floating.
Yeah, they do float a little bit. I've got on my latest hour that I filmed for YouTube. There's times where I'm wearing a white shirt and black's more slimming. I guess
Sure.
that's true. But
Yeah.
sometimes it looks like I'm like fat because the shirt just hangs wide. Because I get it, you always get like a size bigger than I probably should.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so yeah, okay, so you're not naturally flexible is really the lesson there, and you
Yeah.
work towards it.
Right. 1% every day. Visualize. I can put my ass on my head.
Do you
work
want
towards it.
Did you want to put your ass on your head? That was like
Yes.
the goal? Okay, pretty good.
For sure.
All right, I did a lot of work there just to have this go down the bottom. Mad Dog Marco, and I spelled
You
it wrong.
spelt it wrong.
Fucking hold
Mad
on.
zero dog.
All right, whatever. You guys get it. I can't.
Yeah,
I should
not
have
a
done this
zero.
before the podcast. I'm sorry. I gotta do better homework, everybody. Mad Dog Marco, MADDOG Marco.
Yes.
Marco Polo. There we go. I just want people to see your work because your Instagram's great. It shows you doing like pole dancing techniques and all sorts of and like you'll show progress. I've seen you have posts where it's like finally got to do, the
Yes.
hangman's nail. Finally
Yes.
got to do the, Michelangelo Raphael. Finally got to do like, the Winnie the Pooh, which is the ass on the face one.
That's definitely Winnie the Pooh. I'm
That's
glad
called
you
the-
remembered that.
Yes, I know my pole dancing terms. The hangman's nail, I don't know. I made all that shit up, obviously.
I feel like there should be a pole move called that. I think that's really fitting. That's definitely
really
how I
feel-
feel in a lot of pole moves.
So, like, I know in the world of yoga, they have, like, sitting dog and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. Is there pole dancing names for moves?
There are, and the funny thing is because there's no like doctrine that's been passed down from generations to generations, even though there is pole in China, the names of the moves that people come up with are different all over. So you go pole in Chicago, it's different from the pole tricks in LA to Boston to the UK to Asia. All of them are different. So you just have to get really descriptive on like what you're doing. Like we're gonna do an outside leg hang, which is like I forgot what it's called.
I mean, that's
Gemini,
exactly
I
how-
believe.
Okay, see, that's why I want the
Yeah.
code names.
Yeah, it's a Gemini,
know.
and it's literally it's different for everywhere that you go. There's pole dictionaries that have like different versions of different names depending on what studio or what part of the world that you're practicing in, because there's no like coalition that's going like, we're going to call this. It's still so new of a sport.
So do you consider yourself a more confident person since you become a pole dancer?
Yes.
Yeah.
You have to be, like, by default, if you want to pole, you have to become confident in yourself, because when you start your pole journey, I rolled into my yoga stuff. I had my yoga pants on, I had my yoga like tank top or shirt on, and then as you want to get better, like more advanced tricks or more complex passes, you have to start taking the clothes off. You need skin. You need to have your belly exposed. You need to have your inner thighs exposed, your elbows, armpits. Like, there's so many things that you need the skin to stick. Otherwise, you're sliding right down. So you have to start like taking off these layers, and with that, it's like all of this self-doubt and inhibitions come with it. It's just by default.
So we're going to wait a couple weeks before I go to your studio because I'm going to try to lose some weight. I'm going to try to shred a good 5 to 7 pounds.
5 to 6. You could do
that.
that.
What would I wear? What would a beginner wear, like a male beginner?
Oh, for guys, you would just wear like,
shorts
yeah,
and
your
t-shirt?
basketball shorts are fine. The guys that I taught rolled in with basketball shorts. And it's funny because guys just naturally have like strong upper bodies, like out the gate, ready to go, which is I'm very jealous of. But they'll just like, okay, I want to know the hard stuff, and so they'll just like start taking stuff off because they want to know the hard stuff. They're like, I want to do some handspring, I want to do some iron X's and all this crazy stuff. So they'll
go sleeveless.
They'll
shirt.
get in there.
I'll
Yeah,
do cut off sleeves.
done.
But I'm not going
Perfect.
full shirtless. I'm not into that. I don't like being shirtless in public unless I'm getting paid. So
Well, this is the route to getting you paid, to be
Okay.
shirtless in public.
yeah. I guess I could. Yeah, all right. Sounds fun. I was just curious. I didn't know what the dudes wore. You
Yeah,
know, I
basketball
know-
shorts.
Yeah, basketball shorts. You got to wear briefs too. You can't be flopping around, right?
No, you really don't want to flop.
Yeah. that'd be a
Really don't want to
mistake.
flop.
Okay, now the club opened when? When did you open the club? What, a year or two ago?
Yeah, so technically we started holding our first class in March of 2019, so it's just been a little over a year. I lost my light. 1 second.
All right, we'll save you there.
It just straight up fell right off my laptop.
It's all right. I gotcha. People listening on the audio on Apple and Spotify, we're also filming this, and it's important to get the lighting right.
Gotta get the lighting right. Okay.
But Caitlin, also, I'm going to flash back here, everybody.
Okay.
You talked about not being naturally flexible and all that kind of stuff, but I always feel like you were a natural dancer because you made an appearance at my bachelor party. We ended
my
up at
God.
the Scout, a great bar, RIP.
Oh.
And we just found out, you and I just found out recently
Yeah.
that it closed, and I wanted to make an appearance, but I'm not really allowed to go to any bars right now with the
Yeah.
whole virus thing. You know, my wife being a nurse, if I were to get sick, you know, really screw over our family because then she couldn't work. She had to take care of my ass, and then no money for us.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I am heartbroken about that. Great bar, but anyway, I remember you dancing and everyone being like, "She can move. She's got some hips."
I've got some hips. That's pretty much my extent of my dance background. Is your
What was the
bachelor
song you were going
party.
nuts for?
Mac
the Knife.
the Return.
No, Return of the Mac. There we go.
Return of the Mac. Mac the
Mac
Knife.
the Knife is like a song from the 50s or
Yeah.
something.
Also great. Also,
Yeah, good
I would
too.
turn up for that. But no, it's Mark Morrison, Return of the Mac. For sure. Still is. I will stop everything. I will clear the floor with that
Now,
song.
in pole dancing competition, would you dance to would you pole to do you say dance or you say pole? Would you pole to a song like that? Have you
I've never
not
thought
of that
about
before?
it.
This is like your favorite
No.
song. You've never thought to pole dance. Give us your playlist. What are some of the songs you've competed to?
Shit. Competed to? Okay, so In Excess, he did a cover of The Passenger by Iggy Pop. It's actually
Love
on the
that song.
Batman Forever soundtrack, but
I
it's
didn't
like
know In
much
Excess did a
darker.
cover though. Yeah.
Oh, Michael Hutchinson. I love his voice. R.I.P. I wish he was back, but he did a cover of that, and it's like so dark. I live in a very dark music place, which is so great. I love that. Other things, I actually have a playlist. I'm pulling it up of all of my pole songs. It's got over 100 and some odd songs. It's got over 13 hours of music on it.
Damn.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna. Everything But the Girl is on there. Mastodon is on there. System of a Down.
Which System of a Down song?
We've got
Is
it's
it the one-
aerials.
Makeup. All right, no, I like
Yeah.
aerials. Aerials is good. I can play aerials and guitar. Oh, they're one
You
riff
can?
I play. Yeah, it's a pretty easy riff. My friend taught me when it was out. It's like dun 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 dun. That one.
It is. There's also
it's
a string orchestra that does a cover of it. That's really, really good.
I love it when like there's classical arrangements of like alternative songs or modern rock songs.
Yes.
There's a violinist named David Garrett. I think he's Austrian.
Sounds familiar.
He's a strikingly handsome man, I must admit.
Yeah.
He's got blonde hair, long blonde hair he wears in a ponytail. He almost looks like skinny Thor. And he does violin, and he has a whole album that I'd gladly purchase the album of rock anthems.
Rock,
And
okay.
I first discovered him on YouTube because they did "Smells Like Teen Spirit" like with an orchestra, and it was
Serious?
goosebumps. How badass! And really, when you hear it with stringed instruments and everything, that
Oh, wow.
song is like hauntingly beautiful.
It's-
"Smells Like Teen Spirit."
Yes.
Take away from Kurt's death and all that. It's just still like the whole vocal
Very
melody
nice.
played on a violin, and then he's in concert. He did one concert where he did the Pirates of the Caribbean theme.
Is this guy?
That guy, yeah, look at that long blonde hair on the guy,
He's like the Fabio of
violinist.
violinists.
But he's not just like a face. He's like technically an amazing violinist. He has a world record for like fastest violinist. There's like a song that like
Wow.
they do for competition to see who's like the fastest violinist. I think it's like Flight of the Bumblebees or something like that.
Oh.
And he YouTube that shit. He fucking set like a world record. He dominated it.
Dang.
So at first you're thinking, to the outside world, whenever you see someone really good at looking, that's also good. But sometimes you think, I bet there's someone out there better that's ugly. But this person got chosen.
Right. They have
You know,
the
like
face.
Katy Perry sings 2 notes. I mean, it's fine. Her voice is interesting. It's unique. You know, there's a lot of great in quotes singers that I'm using the quotes because they're not really great, but like Britney Spears doesn't have a great voice, but it's like unique. So that's why
It
it's
is.
like, oh, there's a sound to it. You know,
Yeah.
there's some singers like that where you're like, oh, technically they probably couldn't hit every note, but it's a good sound anyway.
Yeah.
This dude though, at first when I saw that, I remember thinking, oh, he's probably just like an okay violinist who had a really good idea. But there's a bunch of uggos that nobody wants to put because it's the world of violinists. It's hard enough to get people to pay money to see a violinist.
Right.
They got this dude looking like skinny Thor or Fabio, as you said. He actually kind of looks like Kurt
skinny.
Cobain if you worked out and didn't do
He
hair.
does. In that photo, he absolutely did.
Yeah, so everyone check out David Garrett. Now, is there ever a time when you do your pole dancing and you're like, that wasn't sexy at all. I don't feel sexy today. That was bullshit.
It's hard not to. Actually, we were just filming a promo video for the studio, and I was free dancing, and it's the first time I'd ever filmed my free dance. So I was very nervous because I don't know what I look like when I free dance. I know what I look like when I do competition because it's like I rehearse it, and it's not actually like sexy because it's a competition. It's more like modern art, contemporary dance kind of a thing. So I didn't know what I looked like, and when I was starting, I was like, I don't feel sexy right now. I just taught a class. Like I had like pizza the night before. Like I just whatever. But there's something about like that intention and the pole movement in general that kind of overcomes that once you start like moving. You definitely need a song that resonates with you though. That's for sure. Like that is step one. And then you just kind of like rely on the movement and then you get out of your head. And then
That makes sense because there are times as a comedian where as soon as you take the mic out stand and once you get the first big laugh, then you flow through it. But I also know as a comedian there are times where I'm like, I have had a bad day and one little thing goes wrong, I take it out on the crowd and I'm famous for doing it in some regards. I don't do it. I don't have any. When it comes to like percentages of bad sets, I have a really good batting average. I have fewer bad sets than most comics. The thing is with me, when I have a bad set, I turn it into an epically bad set by telling the whole audience, hey, go fuck yourself, you're a piece of shit. All the rest of these comedians on this lineup suck too.
Yeah.
I just get full blown like meltdown with it. So I'm wondering, does that happen in the world of pole dancing? Have you ever had it where like maybe you slipped a little bit and you're like, you know, fuck this pole, and like you lose your shit the way like an athlete would throw his bat, you know?
Yeah. There's been moments
Not you,
where
but have you ever seen anyone else do it though?
I haven't seen anyone else, but I've had a similar moment where I start off with a song and I'm doing my free dance and I'm just like, I'm just not in it. and I'll go with I'll stop and I'll go with an angrier song. I'll like go deeper in my heavy metal playlist. Like that's where like my soul lives. And I'm like, if I've got angst or whatever it is, I get it out. And then I go back to it. And the fun thing about pole is like there's so many like different dynamic movements. Like you've got your spin pole, which is like the pole actually rotates. So you can like whip things and like there's whatever it is that you're feeling, this turmoil that you're feeling, you can physically represent that on the pole. And then on top of it, like it kind of hurts. Like doing pole kind of hurts. Like you're holding and gripping onto this metal object with your skin. And so there's like aggressive feedback that comes with it. So you can definitely take out your temper on pole, and it's like, it's fine. It's not going anywhere.
Do you ever
You're going to
climb
lose.
up a pole? Yeah, I got you. Like in grade school, did you ever climb up a pole? Did you guys have those poles hanging in your gym?
No,
So,
stop signs. Yeah.
yeah, see, in my grade school, we had these long poles coming down from the ceiling. And one of the things, which seems wildly dangerous now, you put mats down. But even if you put mats down, if you fall from 7 feet or even longer than that, because it must have had to be to the top 15 feet. I'm not kidding. These were a Chicago public school thing. And you'd climb up the pole, and every dude knows, for some reason, it makes us feel really weird. Like your stuff gets mashed together. Anyway, when
Yeah.
we talk about pole and how it hurts, I always will think of that.
That's true. They didn't teach you how to climb it properly. That's
No, well,
one
they
thing.
teach firemen. When firemen go down the pole, if you notice, they kind of go a little wide-legged with the wrap-around leg. 'Cause you got the one leg there, and then the leg that wraps around to keep you in your base. You
Yeah.
kind of go a little bit wider with it. You don't get the legs too close, because
No.
then as you're going down,
Yeah.
yeah, that's not fun.
Not
So if
at all.
No, see, women have a huge advantage in that world.
This is true. You do not rack yourself as hard,
Definitely not.
but
So,
it still
yeah,
happens.
I'm sure there are injuries there. I'm sure there are definitely injuries for women where you're
For
like,
sure.
Do you wear, is there like padding you could wear?
No.
Like thigh padding or anything?
Nope.
No?
The most that will, like padding wise, the most that will, equipment that we use to protect ourselves is knee pads, because there's a lot, if you're doing exotic or like Russian exotic style pole, it's a lot of like floor work transition on your knees. And heels, like we wear stilettos, and there's like heel clapping is a big thing in pole strippers too, where you're like hitting your heels together, or you're banging them on the floor, or
It's
you
like thunder.
or you dance on top of that shoe and you come like crashing down, or it looks like you come crashing down. Like in my video, actually, in the promo, I do that handstand and then I flip forward and like I kind of kip forward into a tabletop. So that I come down on my shoes to protect the brunt, so my knees don't get so beat up.
Have you ever heard of a place that's in LA? It's called Jumbo's
Clown room. Yes.
Have you been there?
I have not yet, which is a
It's-
travesty. A travesty that I haven't.
I've had people describe it as a strip club, because they don't really get fully naked.
They don't, yeah.
That you wouldn't be embarrassed to take female friends to.
Yep. The pole
Male
dancing is
perspective.
epic. And that's one of the epic centers of where like pole got really popular. It was in LA because of Jumbo's Clown Room.
Now,
So
you
there's
mentioned Russia. Is there like a
Yes.
Russian influence on pole dancing?
massive.
See, the funny about that is the first time I ever went to a strip club was for my cousin's bachelor party.
Yeah.
And like this is like 15 years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
And the one dancer was like Russian, and I kept being like, it's a bullshit accent. Like she's just like, I'm Natasha, or like whatever Russian name.
Yeah.
Like who knows what name it was. I'm Black Widow, she might as well have said. But like, I just kept going, it's a bullshit accent. And they're all like, no, dude, I think it's legit. Like, Russian women come over here to become like strippers and stuff like that. She's got skills.
Yeah.
And now that you mention it, I'm thinking, shit, maybe she was legit. I just thought it was fake, because why would a Russian like immigrant, I mean, she was very attractive, go to Ann Arbor, Michigan?
Right.
I just figured she was some U of M student trying to get some money to pay off the student loans in the future, and threw the Russian accent out there just to throw off any dudes who'd be like, wait a minute, Sarah,
Yeah.
I know you, Sarah,
There is an odd amount of Russian immigrants in Michigan that I've come across, actually, which is interesting.
It is interesting. All right, learn something new every day. I guess I was full of shit back then when I was young.
You need to know about your Russian immigration policies.
I should have
Brush
been
up.
more accepting. I should have been like, yeah, fuck you. I don't know why I doubted her. I don't know.
There's a pole dancer that I have taken a lot of classes with. She's Russian, and she used to be a rhythmic gymnast. And so she has that background. And then you put that on the Russian style exotic pole dance, and it is phenomenal. Like, she is just like floating through air and just all strength and flexibility. And the comparison is definitely the Thievery of Joy. When I watch her videos, I'm like, I want to be able to do that one day. It's exquisite. So the Russians are not to be messed with. They're a fierce force for sure.
They really are on many levels.
Yeah.
Yoga originated in India. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Is there like an origin story for pole dancing? Is it an American thing, or did we take that from somewhere else? Where did pole dancing originate?
So I guess if you really go back to it, China, Chinese pole, Chinese acrobatic pole.
Wow, how about
is where
that?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Men doing that.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, China would dominate the Olympics for male gymnasts for a long time.
Oh my God. Yes.
Well, I mean, they're so much shorter than us. They're
tiny, compact muscle machines. Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely not an area in which height helps you.
Not at all. No.
You know, it's just
second you're over 5'2", you're like, and your career's over. Good luck. Find something interesting.
Go. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
you can't
you're done.
Once you hit 5'3", you're out of the jockey world. You're out of the world of the
jockey world. Yeah.
Do you like horse racing?
Man, I don't. Well, I shouldn't say that. I don't follow it, so I don't know if I like it. But I do love the movie Let It Ride.
I've never seen Let It Ride. Who's in that?
Okay. That was Richard Dreyfuss.
Oh, okay. Very
Love
cool.
it.
All right. I'll have to check that out then. Nice.
Yes, please.
Now to get to a part that might be a little bit like of a downer. Being a business owner at any time is very stressful, very difficult. Sadly, I think there's a lot going against non-huge corporate conglomerates in the world of business that I think sucks. And now with a global pandemic, I can't imagine how much harder it is. Give us a little insight on like some of the struggles you guys have dealt with, as much as you want to.
Yeah.
And also, I didn't get this. You and I talked via text like maybe a couple months ago about this.
Yeah.
What was the whole PPP thing and business loans and all that? Because we know like airlines were getting a ton of money and like PF Chang's got a bunch of money.
Bruce
and
Curtis.
was that what were these business loans? Were they simply just to pay to keep your employees on while you weren't bringing in revenue, or what was the deal with them?
That's exactly what it was.
Exactly
the
okay.
PPP loan is for, it's 75% of it has to go to payroll, and then the other percentage can go to your mortgage or whatever, your rents, whatever other overhead costs that you have. And then for us, because we were brand new, we didn't have employees. We had contractors because we were, we're one, building a brand, but also trying to build a following. And so we weren't able to have employees, so we got denied for the PPP. So yeah, so it's been really, really difficult, and our landlord is like, trying to work with us to make sure that we can, compromise on rent during this whole thing, but we had to show that we are denied for all this government assistance because we didn't qualify. So there's so many businesses out there that fall under that area, especially around health and fitness, because not everyone can afford to be an employee there. It's all contractor work.
Yeah, I got a buddy, Mike Riccio, who started Mar Health and Fitness. I forget the whole name. Apologies, Mike. He's doing great stuff with his Instagram, a lot like you, and he was set to launch, and I think he had to launch maybe just like a couple months out, and it's like, oh my God, it's just such bad timing for all of this.
It's brutal.
So yeah, that's brutal to hear. And I know a lot of bars and restaurants around Chicago are kind of going under, but you think a lot of them would qualify? Do you think some of them are closing up because they're just doing the math on what the future may hold?
Yeah, absolutely. I know a couple buddies of mine who own bars have closed up completely. One, because they were kind of struggling to begin with. Like, they were already in debt. The numbers weren't adding up. They were, trying to figure out what the path forward was, and then the shutdown happened, and then even with the government assisted loans or grants, they still weren't able to get down all that debt. So the only way forward was just to close it down. So it was legit a nail in a coffin for several of my friends who own bars and restaurants in Chicago. Like had COVID not happened, I'm sure they would have like figured it out, extended some paybacks or whatever they needed to do to keep things going. But with the, limited capacity, you're only being able to either serve outside or 25%. Like there's just no way you can get to where you need to go.
Yeah,
So,
it sucks
yeah,
because I just think, we as a country just mishandled every aspect of this and
massive.
massively and so much. I think, just to focus on the business side, because that's, you're a business owner. So
Yeah.
it really kills me that they didn't just do a freeze on mortgages and on rents for like the duration of this. And the only people that would hurt essentially would be banks. But even banks, it's like you're
Yeah.
gonna get your money eventually. And also, hey assholes, we bailed you out in 2008. You can't chill for a little bit. You'll still get your
Right.
ATM fees. You'll still get your service fees on every other little bullshit thing you have.
Absolutely.
It drives me absolutely insane on that. And as you mentioned, the PPP is still a loan. So isn't the
Yes.
implication that once things do go back to normal fully, that you'll have to eventually pay that back?
You do. Yeah. I mean, there's different requirements to make it less, and it's a loan with like air quotes. It's not like the most aggressive loan ever. Um, and I'm sure a lot of it will be forgiven if you're, doing well and, really trying to improve the business and hiring people and doing everything. I'm sure it'll be like a student loan pretty much, where it's like it's real, but it's not real.
Well,
But
those student loans have some shit interest rates on them. I'm married into that.
yeah, they
uh,
really do.
yeah, dude, they really, there's some really just things where it's like we just did a little bit of difference. I still have faith in a good American future, but there are just some things. Even talking to you, I'm realizing why aren't we teaching yoga to kids in gym class across the United
Yeah, why
States?
isn't that a requirement? It
How,
absolutely should be. I would have like looking back, if I had yoga with my ADD in school and my dyslexia, oh my God, that would have changed my mindset so much. Like instead of thinking I was like an idiot, I would have been like, oh, my brain just works differently and everything's cool. That's fine. Like it would have been, it's such a game changer. Yeah, totally agree.
yes, I wish we would see. The problem is so much with education is that we're all under this belief that, well, this is how it was taught.
Yeah.
This is how we were taught, so we're going to teach other people this. There needs to be like a Moneyball approach. For people who aren't in the world of sports and don't know that baseball reference, Michael Lewis, who writes a lot about finance as well, he's written a few really good books. He wrote The Big Short, which turned into a movie that, in my opinion, should have won Best Picture that year. I really believe it. The movie Spotlight won instead, which was also a great movie, but Spotlight,
I
what did
saw.
it do? It had you hating pedophile priests. I already hated them. It wasn't like
Yeah,
a fresh story in 2017 or whatever year that was.
not at all.
Whereas The Big Short was talking about something that happened only 7, 8 years earlier, and it was doing it in ways where you're like, holy shit, these fucking crooked, like it made me like hate capitalism. You know how hard that is to do to the average American? I know things have shifted a little bit now, but it made me being like, these motherfuckers, every one of these assholes should be in jail the rest of their fucking lives. They
Yes.
preyed on the public. How corrupt. And that's what that movie did. We're like, Spotlight, I'm like, yeah, I already hated these fucking disgusting human beings. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I felt like,
You already went
as a,
into the movie with what the movie wanted you to feel. You're like, yeah,
yeah,
I'm
it
sold.
didn't
Preaching
like
to the choir.
flip me on
Done.
anything.
Yeah.
Whereas I felt like I came out of The Big Short like, well, we gotta round up some bankers and hang them maybe. I don't know. I'm
Witch
obviously
hunt for
exaggerating
bankers.
a little bit, just a little bit. So Michael Lewis, Moneyball, is about the 2002 Oakland Athletics, which was turned into a movie. In case you guys haven't seen it, starring Brad Pitt and Jonah Hill, great flick. The reason I say we need to take a Moneyball approach to things like education and maybe even business going forward is Moneyball was all about finding value where you hadn't found value before and efficiency. It was about finding like places where you could become more efficient. And that's why I look at schools and I'm just like, there's so many things that 100 years ago that worked. It doesn't, we're beyond it. Things are better now.
Yeah.
Some schools are getting there slowly. Public schools are not, unfortunately. I went to a Chicago public grade school. I then went to an all guys Catholic high school here in Chicago. And the high school I went to, shout out to St. Pat's. They actually are taking some initiatives, which is cool to hear. Where I think it's been like 5 or 6 years they've been doing this now, where everyone has an iPad. Every student has an iPad.
Oh,
Which think about how nice that is. You
wow.
don't have to have a big backpack full of books. They just
That's
download the
really
books
nice. Yeah.
onto the iPad. Now
Yeah.
that's from a place of privilege, being a private school. I know public schools face budget deficits for things like that.
Yeah.
But then again, I think it'd probably be cheaper as a whole instead of buying all these expensive ass books. I know the books are way cheaper digitally.
Yeah, you can rent them. You can rent them
Yeah, they could
digitally.
definitely have. I know they could get group deals, and these
Yeah.
companies would. I just think they need to come up with different ways of like nurturing young people
This is
and
very
further
true.
educating them. And even in the business world, like I talked to my cousin. He's actually in finance. I guess he's not technically a banker, but he works for a bank. So he could ignore everything I just said, buddy. Um, he was talking about how like the older people, like the older executives, they don't get like how the younger like hires are because they're like when I was 26, I worked 70 hours a week, and because they were getting people quitting when we're trying to get that much, and he was like,
Yeah.
well, working 70 hours a week is stupid because we have efficient technology now.
Yeah.
You know, the shit that took you 3 hours, they get done in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So that's why they're like, fuck this. I have other options. I'll go work for another company. I don't need to work here for this
Yeah.
archaic model in which they, you know,
The whole
don't
way,
understand how quickly things can be done now.
yeah, the whole way of life has changed. Because also you think about these people that were working, 70 hours a week, and they'd also stay at a job for 40 hours. They're also like getting married in their early 20s. So they had someone at home that ran the house for them, right? So
Yeah.
it was a partnership deal. Like they couldn't do that and maintain a home on their own without having technology to enable them to do so like we can today. And also on top of it, like millennials, we entered the workforce during a recession, during the Great Recession. And you're not going to get promoted up during a recession. You're not going to make that money during a recession. So the only way for you to get ahead is to leave a company to get the next job that pays more, because it's not going to happen at a 30 to 40 tenure because you're already entering the workplace at such a low rate anyway, because everyone's competitive. So you're damned if you do. So it's happening with millennials, and now it's happening with what's this generation?
Gen Z.
Gen
They're
Z.
calling it
Yeah,
Gen Z. I
it's
don't know
happening
who comes up
again.
with the names, but
So
yeah.
it's going to be even more of an ADD lifestyle. So it's going to delay everyone. They're going to stay at home longer because their debts are so high. Then they don't have a competitive workforce to enter into, and then they're going to delay buying a home, delay having kids. So it's just going to create a very sluggish, like, effect on the economy moving forward.
I think we're going to have to change a lot about the American way of life going forward because
huge.
there's a huge ripple effect that's happening. You know, it's great that your landlord of the building that you guys have your studio out of wants to work with you. They're a
Yes.
smart landlord, I
Yes.
think. I mean, I don't know. Well, it sounds like they are.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these landlords, all right, say you kick out the small business currently occupying your space, who the fuck's going to come in right now and start a
No
business?
one.
Nobody.
Nada.
I've thought about every now and then there's a few bars for sale that I go by every now and then, and I'm thinking, you know, if this next year works out okay and blah blah blah, maybe I could get a few friends together, and I know we could do a great job. And then
Yeah.
then I have that moment where I'm like, what are you, a moron?
Yeah.
Who the fuck would want to even take that gamble right now?
It's a huge risk.
And
It's
I think a lot of
massive
these
risk.
businesses, I think I've mentioned this on the podcast in the past, everyone, so sorry for repeating myself. A lot of businesses are now having people work from home. I know a lot of people who used to go to downtown offices who during all of this have been working from home, and they already sense that their businesses are going to be like, hey, we're going to move out of this office. We don't need 25,000 square feet.
Yes.
We're going to move to another office where it's just a nice little conference room, and we'll get together maybe once a week to go over some stuff as a group. But for
Yeah.
the most part, 80% of your job is now going to be working from home.
Yep.
And so what's going to happen to all these empty offices once these businesses realize we no longer need this much space? There's going to be some sort of commercial real estate like bubble burst, I guess. I
It
don't know
really
what phrase
is,
I'm looking
yes.
for.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. So it's going to be a really interesting thing to see. You know, talking
Yeah.
about technology, you and I are doing this remotely.
Yeah.
And the sound's pretty good. Like every week I learned a couple new little audio tricks to make things a little bit clearer. So it sounds as good as it used to in the studio. I don't think it sounds as crisp as it did when I used to record out of the studio, but it's
Sure.
getting there. And like, you know, I'm using StreamYard. They're updating their stuff constantly because they want to be number one in this game.
Yeah, and
So
they should. This is a
they,
space to go after for sure.
oh hell yeah! Everyone talks about how Zoom stock went through the roof. I didn't even know
Insane.
Zoom existed.
Ah,
I I thought Zoom does. There's a company called Zoom that does like these handheld recorders and stuff like that. So they're popular in that world.
yeah.
I don't know if it's the same company. It'd be smart if it was. I only knew of Skype, but I always kind of was like, whatever, there's FaceTime now. Who the fuck Skypes anymore?
Right. Nobody
And
Skypes.
who Skypes?
Nobody Skypes.
Nobody, right?
Nobody.
Exactly.
Europeans.
So,
That's it.
yeah. God, I'm kidding, European listeners. I just think that, well, the one's conspiracy theory was that Zoom was part of this. They started the coronavirus because everyone's using them now.
Probably because their stock is insane right now. It jumps like an insane amount, and they had like all of their servers in China on top of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And by the way, I don't like that people are coming for TikTok. There's a whole thing where they're like, oh, everyone's going after TikTok. No, TikTok's like the one platform that I'm doing great on. Well, I'm doing very well on YouTube. I'm approaching 10K on YouTube, so thanks to the YouTube subscribers. But TikTok,
That's
I've got like
amazing.
23,000 followers. And now people are like, dude, they might ban TikTok. I'm like, fuck you guys.
Oh,
That's
no.
bullshit. Ban Twitter, where I've been underrated for a decade on that fucking thing.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I have great tweets. I'll be cocky as shit. I have some really kick-ass tweets.
You have some very fake ass tweets.
I had a tweet the other day that says, dude, I'll check my phone while I pee. Like, there's a set way of saying, like, that's how obsessed with my phone I am. Got like 4 likes. I'm like, come on.
That's it.
And
That's
then I
so
see, like,
relatable.
I feel like it is. As well, I think it's funny as a guy to be, I like the visual of, like, back when you could go to, like, public bathrooms, someone walking into, like, a bar bathroom, they just see me at a urinal like this, just scrolling,
Yeah.
I think that's a funny visual.
Or if is the trough still at Wrigley Field in the
Yes.
men's bathroom? That's
They
a
do have a
great
trough,
visual.
which is peeing
All
in a
you
giant
guys,
sink.
yeah, all you guys like facing. You're facing each other, right?
Well, I
It's
was
like
in
in
that
the
Cubs
middle.
commercial, right?
Which
Have you ever
one?
seen that commercial? I was in
I
a
don't
Cubs
think I
commercial.
have. I don't know what
I'll,
TV is.
I'll send you the link. It was a Cubs
Okay.
commercial that aired in 2018 during Cubs games and other times when the Cubs weren't playing. It was me and actor Ike Barinholtz. I had
No
just one
way.
line. The whole concept, the Cubs had a hashtag that year of everybody in. So the concept of the commercial was Ike Barinholtz. He's outside of Wrigley Field. He goes,
Yeah.
this year everybody's in. And he's like, this guy's in, that guy's in. And then he was like outside the men's bathroom, which, because if you go in the one door, it says in and then out on the other door, because that's how
Yeah.
they try to flow the traffic in the bathroom. So he just points at the in, then it cuts him doing other stuff, and then it cuts him walking up to the trough, and then going, you know what I'm talking about, brother? And I'm like, dude, we're in a bathroom. And I just like kind of shake my head, but he like comes up next to me at the trough.
You need to send this to me. I think I was in San Francisco when
You were, so you probably
yeah.
wouldn't have seen it at the time.
Ah, send this to me. I love this.
Because it was my first year back from LA, and all my LA friends were like, dude, you in a Cubs commercial? That's perfect. And I'm like, yeah, I walked in like, I'm like, this is my role.
Yeah,
This
you
is
have
my
your firstborn the year that the World Series wins, and then you're in a Cubs
Well, a few
commercial,
months
right?
after. A few
Yeah.
months after my first son was born.
Same,
And I was on
same year.
Yeah, I was on a show too. I was on a morning show in Chicago.
You got the
Do
little
you remember that? I
onesie.
was on a morning show where they gave me Cubs onesies because I
Yes.
told them that I had a deal with my wife that we would not have a baby until the Cubs won a World Series.
You actually broke the curse. Like
And
you
then-
yourself.
Cubs won, baby a few
Yeah.
months later, timed perfectly. So I said I wouldn't
Amazing.
do it. I didn't do it.
Yeah.
So anyway, if the Cubs would have lost, I don't want to tell you what would have
It,
happened. But I'm of course kidding. So yeah, you have a good landlord. They're working with people. I just wish that it just makes me sad to see a lot of people who have like this bar Guthrie's in Chicago. They've been there forever,
Guthrie's,
known as a
yeah.
huge first date spot. And I know they had their last night tonight, or this was their last weekend, and people were writing in chalk outside of the bar. First date, June 2015. Married, May of 2019. Like they're like people are like doing that because it was known as such a big first date hotspot.
I
And
totally
it's sad to
didn't
see
know
a place
that.
like that going, and I just wonder, so because and people forget too. I think there is a disconnect between, like, everything does get politicized, and I think the far right and the far left are really hurting this country. They're both fars, and.
it's so yeah.
Because I hear people, I have a lot of friends concern themselves far left, and they just think anyone who owns a business is just rolling in dough, and every landlord is rolling in dough. And I'm like, I know a lot of landlords who inherited the building from their dead parents,
Yeah.
and they make just enough money, they make a little bit. They're not making a ton off of it.
Nope.
This idea that they all own 50 units everywhere, that's just not true. So, and some of them I know some people who, they bought an apartment building, like a 2-flat or a 3-flat, and they lived in one unit, rented out the other two. And yeah, they had some profit left over, but most of, like 80% of the rent taken in was to pay the mortgage. And then with the other 20%, maybe they then eventually move into a single family home. But that's still, if all of a sudden that well runs dry, that, you know, you have other bills. So I'm not even, and again, I'm not coming down on renters per se, because renters have gotten screwed over big time on this. And I just think they should have done a mortgage and rent freeze and just realized, hey, because people are losing their livelihoods to no fault of their own.
Yeah.
It was a global pandemic.
Yeah.
Just, you know, we know bartenders who make a fucking fortune, and that's the wells run dry. And hopefully they'll extend that unemployment for a little bit longer, as they should, because it's just a different world. People can't jump back into it like they used to. And they have no problem going into debt and deficit for fucking Delta Airlines, who nobody likes anyway, and United and all these other huge corporations that people are like, you could fuck right off.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, we could go on and on about this shit. Let's talk about hockey. The first thing I feel like that bonded us together.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
We met about 10 years ago or so through our good friend Steve Byrne. And right away started talking about the Blackhawks, as he was friends with a few of the guys on the team. So we hang out at the Scout, see some of the players, talk to those guys. What do you think about the Seattle Kraken? The new team. Did you hear about this? New NHL team, the Seattle Kraken.
I heard rumors, but I didn't know if it was official.
It's official today. They announced it.
Oh my God. I don't know. I mean, I appreciate the location. I think that's better than like Texas.
Atlanta, I know. Well, although Nashville, they get behind their team, but I remember when the Atlanta Thrashers became a thing, going, it's fucking 90 degrees down there all the time. Why would you want?
Yeah.
It's just not a place where ice hockey's big.
It's not. Your farm teams are in colder locations, like, because that's where the culture is, you know. So it's weird.
I mean, Tampa Bay Lightning works because there's so many East Coast retirees who are like, oh, this will be our adopted team now because we can't go watch the Bruins and the Rangers. And even Florida shouldn't have two teams, though. Like, the Panthers should get the hell out of there.
Yes, I completely agree. So yeah, I don't like the name though. Seattle, the Kraken, really?
It's weird.
Explain to me the octopus reference. I don't understand this.
I think Kraken is all like, you know, Release the Kraken was this like mythical beast.
Yeah.
People listening are probably going to be like, no, you're fucking way off, because I'm not sure.
No, it was a...
I'm putting context clues together.
An octopus.
Yeah, well, it's like an anchor. The one logo for the Seattle Kraken is like an anchor that's like the Space Needle. It's like an anchor, but the Space Needle's coming out of it. So the actual thing looks kind of cool.
Okay.
But some of the names have been weird. Like the Golden Knights could have just been the Knights. That would have been fine, I suppose.
Yeah, but then you're not referencing the Golden Nugget.
True.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they did that from the casino.
Yeah.
That's right, I forgot about that. Yeah, there's always a little history with some stuff like that. Yeah. I don't know, I'm excited for just sports to be back in general. Baseball is officially back. The home openers for the Yankees and Nationals were tonight.
Yeah.
So that's
I wanted to watch that game, but I was teaching, so I didn't see who won.
So what's it like teaching virtually?
Oh, it's weird. It's a little bit easier teaching yoga because there's not a lot of like feedback. It's like you kind of just do what I say and I just watch you, and then I cue the room, or like the gallery, I suppose you could say. So it's a little bit easier. But teaching pole and then teaching, like I could do contortion style flex classes where you really have to be watching people and asking them like, how do you feel? And like I need to see that again, like do that on your other side and let me like inspect and watch you. And you have this like screen that you're trying to zoom in on.
Are they muted?
Most of them are muted, so then they have to like come by and unmute, ask a question, and then go back on mute, and then like go back to it.
So do you want to hear them? You want to hear them rip ass then, which is good.
That actually, from a yoga perspective, is quite beneficial because my Sunday morning yoga class in particular, everyone is like recuperating from some sort of hangover situation, and and they tell me too. They're like, I am farting so much today. So I'm going to go on mute. And I'm like, good, awesome. We'll do a lot of wind removing poses for you today.
They don't actually tell you. They actually tell you I'm farting.
Oh my gosh. Absolutely they do. Absolutely.
Oh my God, that's hysterical.
Like you know me, and I'm not a very I'm a warm person. You can tell me anything.
You really could have become you could have been a therapist for sure.
I technically am. This pole yoga studio is my my therapy
listen to problems.
office.
It's almost like a bartender in a lot of ways.
It's very true.
When you're doing yoga, have you ever stretched anyone out and they just totally just
It's
Just
totally
let them
happened.
go?
Yeah, it's totally happened. But that's
What's the look? What's the
that's
look?
they're
They
they're
try to
like,
laugh
oh
it
God,
off.
I'm so sorry. But I'm like, that's the point of yoga. It's called prana. It goes in and it comes out. Like the breath travels through the body. Like I end every class in wind removing pose for that reason.
What?
Yeah.
What's wind removing pose? I'm sorry, you
It's
probably
the
should go
farting
into that.
pose. It's the
Where?
farting pose.
What is the farting pose? Hold on. Is it like that's where you get the legs up? I can't even
Yeah, you
figure it.
curl up into a tiny
We'll knock the
ball.
whole thing down over here.
Yeah, I'll start a yoga class right now. You curl up into the tiniest ball here, and then forehead to knee, and you like push your knees into your chest, and you flatten your base of your spine to the floor. And this is after we do a sequence of twisting. So we're like moving our intestines around, starting from the right side up your transverse abdominis down to the left, and then we squeeze it all out.
This is why everyone's so relaxed after yoga. They've
Oh
been
my God.
farting for 25 minutes.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with stretching and being limber. Just got all
Absolutely.
that gas out.
And then you take the best shit of your life afterwards. That's why yoga's great.
That does sound great.
It
Now, have you
does.
ever had someone fart so bad where you're just like, I need a minute. I got
class.
it. Yeah, class is end early. Everyone go home. And you think about what you fucking did. We need to
You
have
think about what
you
your
actually
daily
stay over there.
routine has resulted in. I haven't
Just cancel the
yet.
class. Oh,
Yeah, I
that's
haven't yet, but I do keep essential oils and a fan on the side. So,
What are
yeah.
the essential oils? I feel like, wouldn't they make the farts
Yeah.
just, it's like someone who doesn't bathe and then
Yeah.
just put deodorant over it?
I take my essential oils are lavender and eucalyptus, and I spray it on a towel, and then I fan the room.
Oh, so it's just kind of like,
Yeah.
you have like it's almost like a fancy air freshener. Not a fancy,
Yes.
but what's the word I'm looking for? An organic air freshener.
Organic air freshener. 100%.
Are you into everything organic now?
Let's see.
You've always
Everything
been a pretty
organic.
healthy eater, though.
Yeah, I've been fairly healthy. One, because like I love junk food, and in order to maintain the schedule that I do with like a career plus owning the studio plus like teaching the classes and then my own practice, I can't eat anything that throws me off of this schedule. So I do have to, like, by default, eat pretty clean. Or if I know that I'm going to go, eat something that I know will throw me off, I have to, like, plan it in my schedule, which sounds terrible, but worth it to have the life.
I might talk to you off air to see if I could get like some diet recommendations from
Oh my
you.
God, I got you.
Okay, now I want to have a little fun with you though. We've talked
no.
a lot of good stuff about. I've learned a lot about yoga and pole dancing, and I'm going to show up. We're going to have some fun with it. We're going to
Yes.
film it. It's going to be a really fun.
I'm so excited.
It's going to be a really fun video to get out of it because it's going to be embarrassingly bad how terrible I am at.
And
then
I've
you and I
taught
could
so
fight
many
like we talked
guys.
about earlier. We
Yeah,
could
I've
fight
taught so
earlier.
many guys. You're going to be in good hands. Like, I'm proud of myself that I'm, up until recently, like the only pole dance instructor that's had men in her class consistently. So I got you.
All
We
right,
will
hell
not
yeah.
rack your nuts.
And
good.
oh god, that sounds so painful. And once this whole COVID shit is over with, we are going to do it. We're going to combine pole dancing and stand-up comedy for an awesome night of entertainment.
Yes.
There'll be a comedian hosting, bringing up a pole dancer, then another comedy act, pole dancer, and then I think it should end on pole dancing. And you had a great logo that you designed, and then you also had a great name. Do you remember the name?
Joke and grind.
Joke and Grind, I think is badass. And and the logo was a stand-up comedy mic with like a pole dancer around the mic, which I thought was really, I would wear that as a shirt.
It was.
for sure.
We're going to make shirts, and I have an idea of how we can pull this off in the land of COVID. But we will talk offline because it came to me the other day, and I was like, oh, maybe
All
this
right,
is
cool.
the way.
We'll talk
so we'll
after
talk.
I'm done recording.
Yes.
All right, now let's end with some fun stuff.
Okay.
Normally I'll save this for bonus, but I'm going to just bring this. I've been doing a bonus game of Fuck, Marry, Kill.
Oh, God.
With everybody.
Oh,
But
no.
I'm going to just give this right for free to the listeners. Everyone else, try to support the Patreon if you can. It's as low as a $3 tier. It gets you all sorts of access to podcasts that had to be removed for different reasons, some legal. Someone wanted a job and they're like, hey, this is a top Google search. We got to take it down. Another person was like, I don't want to get sued for what I said about so-and-so. It's all available on the Patreon for you, plus some really cool bonus stuff. Anyhow, I want to play... Fuck me. Well, anyway, normally I would do favorites. I've been doing this like favorites thing.
Okay.
'Cause even though this is the Joe Kilgallon podcast, it was once called Kilgallon's Pub. It's still AKA Kilgallon's Pub. It was just easier for branding to just call it the Joe Kilgallon podcast. I still
Fair.
talk about whatever I want. I still have silly bar type conversations. Even though you're not a drinker,
I
you are. What's that?
I'm not a drinker, but I do hang out at bars.
That's what I meant. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry I said what's that, because for, no, I don't mean to say what's that rudely, but for a split second I thought you said I am. Like, no, you didn't hear Joe? I drink.
Yeah, I drink. I'm a total alcoholic now.
This pandemic has been rough on us all, and now I love Jameson. That's what I thought. I thought you heard like I am. Yes, you're not a drinker, but you are a bar goer. Obviously, comedy shows, Blackhawks games. So hell yeah.
Yeah.
So before I was asking people their favorites, favorite shot, favorite alcoholic beverage, all this stuff. But with you, we're just gonna skip right to fuck, marry, kill. You ready for this shit?
Yes.
So here's how I do it though. I do it a little bit differently. I recently had to clean out some stuff, so I have a big, huge bin of DVDs. And I'm going to reach in, the bin's right next to me over here. I'm going to reach in, feel around, and pull 3 out at random.
Okay.
Now, based on who the actors are, so you're a sports fan. Maybe in the future I'll take like a bunch of cards and pick athletes. So you can
Or do like a 30 by 30 or 30 for 30 or whatever that show was.
Good documentaries there.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to pick them out, and then based on who they are, you're going to F, marry, or kill them.
Okay.
Men or women. So who knows? All right, here we go.
Okay.
All right, let's see what I got. The first one. Ooh, this is funny because we mentioned him earlier.
Oh my
Richard
God.
Dreyfuss. So Peter, A Pretty Woman is the movie.
Richard Dreyfuss.
Not Dreyfuss.
Richard Gere.
Sorry, Richard Gere. Richard went right to Dreyfuss. All right, so Richard Gere will be your first one. I'm going to give you a man first and foremost. Although Julia Roberts back then, holy shit. All right,
I
next
mean,
one.
Julia.
Next.
Forever.
Oh my God.
What?
This is weird. Slapshot. We're
Oh,
talking hockey.
shit.
We're talking fucking hockey. You made a Richard Gere reference. I pull a Richard Gere movie. We're talking hockey, and I pull Slapshot.
Yeah,
This is
Paul.
nuts. All right. So Paul Newman, clearly, because he's
Yeah,
on the cover.
this
Well,
is
Hanson Brothers
tough.
on the cover too, but I'll give you Paul Newman. All right, hold on. Okay, this one's Ocean's 12. Now here's what I do when it's a multiple stars, an ensemble cast.
Yeah.
I got
Ocean's
1,
12
2,
is not the
3.
best, but
No, Ocean's 11 is great. 12, 13 was okay.
13
I
was.
saw 13.
They had to do 13 because 12 was so bad.
I would agree.
Yeah.
You know what was bad about the movie Ocean's 12, everybody? Ocean's 11 was so awesome because they then revealed how they did the thing they did. The heist
Yeah.
was then revealed. It got done, you're like, oh shit, how'd they do that? And then they reveal, and you're like, oh, that's fucking cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
It
that's why
all
they got the
comes
3
together.
bands.
Yeah.
Oh, and everything came together, and you're like, oh, that's what was awesome. Ocean's 12, they're like, here's how we're going to do it. They did
Yeah.
it, and we saw it, and we're like, oh, I mean, where's the mystery? Where's
Yeah.
the suspense?
You don't get to
Just-
piece it together yourself throughout the movie.
No, they tried to
kinda-
do one bait and switch where it was like, no, it's
Yeah.
actually Matt Damon's mom, and even that just felt like it flopped. So,
Yeah.
all right. So here's what I do when it's ensemble and there's a bunch of people on the cover. I'm gonna number them and then have you pick a number between whatever. All right, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, pick a number between 1 through 8.
1 through 8. I'm going to go with 6.
It's Brad Pitt. Damn, you got the best choices. Brad
Dude.
Pitt number 6. So you have
That's
Brad
so
Pitt,
hard.
Paul Newman, or Richard Gere. This is like the hardest F, marry, kill of all time.
It legit is. Oh my God. The reason I have thigh-high boots is because of Pretty Woman, that movie. Not shitting you.
Well, thigh-high
Yeah.
boots are underrated. Anything thigh-high.
They are.
I don't know a single guy who's not a fan of thigh-high.
I don't know either. They should have more of them.
Or woman, for that matter. Doesn't
That's-
matter what we always think, right?
So true. So true.
Look at me being all fucking 2020.
Yeah. Oh God.
All right. I mean,
don't-
it's tough. It's
I
very
really,
tough.
I really don't know. This is so hard.
Because you like them all for different reasons.
Different. So different.
Richard Gere. So, all right, let's see now. Paul
Okay.
Newman, by the way, might have the only person I'll ever admit has better blue eyes than me is Paul Newman.
It's so true.
He's got some really good blue eyes.
Yeah.
He's always had gray hair. He's one of those dudes that I feel like was 29 and went full gray and it just worked. Kind of like
Yeah.
that dude from Mad Men.
Yeah.
The guy from Mad Men who also played like Tony Stark's dad. That dude has had white hair since he was like 26.
Yeah.
And I mean, Brad Pitt is Brad Pitt.
He's Brad Pitt.
Good dude.
Yeah,
Richard
and now
Gere
he
and
looks
then
like
Paul Newman. Every one
he
of them
looks
is
like oh my God, I'm forgetting his Robert Redford. Like Brad Pitt is aging beautifully.
beautifully. My own father, after he saw Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which he was a big fan of the movie, He said that Brad Pitt, the best hair.
Yeah.
He's got
Oh,
the best hair.
the best hair.
You can grow in 9 different ways. I tried growing my hair out long recently, and it's getting like I got like some strands that could go like way past my like nose even.
Look at this.
Getting long, but I can't. It's like
This is very
it's
90s
falling
grunge
weird.
of you.
It
It's
is
falling weird.
90s grunge look. All right, Caitlin, I'm sorry. Clock's ticking. I gotta be adamant about it.
Okay, so sorry. I think I'll start off with I'll fuck Brad Pitt because he's not he's not the marrying kind in that it lasts. We know this. He's got a terrible track record with
Smart
the
move.
most beautiful women ever. He can't hold it together. So he's gonna go in the fuck. So it's between killing off Paul Newman. Oh, he's already dead. So maybe. Or Richard Gere. That is really tough.
Because Richard Gere, I mean, they're both silver-haired foxes.
Oh my God.
But what's Richard Gere done lately?
What's he
Yeah.
done lately?
Maybe
Exactly.
his Gere's already dead.
Yeah.
Do you want to physically kill him?
I know. Runaway
You gotta
Bride,
pick one,
not
Caitlin.
great. Not great.
You
Okay,
gotta pick
here it
one,
is.
sorry.
I'm going to marry Paul Newman and I'm going to kill Richard Gere.
That's what I thought you'd do. You got to marry the guy who was in Slapshot.
Slapshot, I know.
Come
I
on.
know.
Hockey fan like yourself, that's an all-timer.
Yeah.
Such a great comedy, too. He's been in so many good roles. Even his last roles were, Road to Perdition, fantastic.
So good.
He does a voice of one of the cars in the movie Cars.
Does he really?
Yeah, Doc Hudson, who's like Lightning McQueen's mentor. I don't know if you know the Cars franchise, everybody.
Wow,
He
I
does the voice.
didn't
And
know
actually,
that.
They brought him back for the third one, Cars 3, which came out in 2017, by piecing that, they had his voice enough where they were able to make him do sentences, which is always a little weird to me.
It's like
I
Tupac
don't know
coming
how I
back.
feel about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it would be like Tupac having a new song, though, out of someone putting together every word he's ever said.
Yeah.
I wonder, say, I don't even want to think about this. Let's not use Tom Hanks then. Let's say that Tim Allen dies, and then they want to do a Toy Story 5. I don't want anyone to die, everybody. But say they do Toy Story 5, and they're like, well, we're not going to replace Buzz Lightyear. We literally have audio of every word that Buzz would possibly say. So we're just going to treat the script like normal and use this auto-generated Tim Allen voice. I don't know. I think that'd be a little weird.
It's a little weird.
Where does the money go? To his
But-
estate? Probably.
Possibly. Yeah.
The same
I
money
think
that
so.
a dead musician would get. The same money that John Lennon gets or Elvis.
You'd have to.
You have to go there. All right, Caitlin, this has been a lot of fun. I mean, thank you so much for taking your time because I know you're a very busy woman, as we all know. Another cool thing that Caitlin, only time I've ever shot guns in my life that I'm going to tell people.
Yeah.
You guys don't know what the fuck I do. But the first time I shot guns, this is actually the first time, was
Yeah.
with Caitlin Marco.
That reminds me, free up your Labor Day if you can. You can also bring the kids if you want to have guns around your children at a young age. But we're doing that again. We're doing the Labor Day gun outing because it's like COVID friendly. It's outdoors and we'll have masks on.
You should be socially distanced with a gun. So
You
that's probably
absolutely
good.
should.
All right, everyone, make sure you follow Mad Dog Marco on Instagram. Check out where would they go for like information on online classes.
Oh yeah, so we're teaching online and in person now. So we're
person,
streaming
hell
all of
yeah.
our. Yeah, so excited. We're streaming all of our classes. So you can go to flyclub.studio, and we have everything online.
So that's nice though too because I do have listeners. I think only 50, maybe a little less. I think last time I checked, it's been a while since I've looked at any kind of numbers because it's COVID, so I don't really, I'm just trying to have fun with this thing.
Right.
No, what's weird though? I read a whole thing about how podcast listening is down because people normally listen to podcasts as part of their daily routine.
Yeah.
And they're commuting. So people are commuting less, they're doing all this less. So even like the huge podcast followings are actually down.
That's disappointing.
I think I saw that because after the Joe Rogan podcast, Joe Rogan Experience was announced, the $100 million deal.
Yeah.
COVID happened shortly after that. And then I read an article where it said podcasts actually are down as a whole, but so is like all radio. The only thing that's doing great right now is streaming. Streaming stuff's doing really well because people are still going to stream things and watch video and movies and all that kind of thing.
Yeah,
Like Disney Plus's
interesting.
subscriptions went up and subscriptions to other things went up. But as far as like podcasts, that was part of the routine, working out. People go to the gym, pop a podcast in. They're not going to their normal gym. They're not, that kind of thing. So I haven't been looking at numbers because I'm like, I just want to focus on it being good. And which
That's
I should.
the way.
if I'm focused on
Visualize.
it being good, I shouldn't bitch about people not listening for fucking 2 minutes to end the podcast. Anyhow, though, I know that I would say the majority of my listeners are not in Chicago. I think I've got like maybe 40 to 45% that are in Chicago.
Cool.
So the virtual classes, if you're listening
Huge.
in Mountain View, California, which I have a lot in,
Yeah.
I noticed randomly. If you're listening out there in Mountain View, if you're listening in Denver, San Francisco, wherever, you
Yeah.
could take classes. And Caitlin, I know Caitlin very well. She's one of the best people I've ever met in my entire life. I got to imagine you're an amazing teacher.
I'm a pretty good teacher. I like to think so.
There you
But
go.
yeah, I do host a lot of people in California for my Sunday class. So bring them.
Perfect.
We'll get everyone farting. It'll be wonderful.
Everyone farting together across America. That's what
Across
we need. That's what
America.
this country needs. Have
Little
we thought
gas
about
relief.
that? Have we thought about protesters and police getting together? Just let them rip?
Yeah.
You know, farting it out.
That might be the way. That
That
might be the way.
All right, everyone. Thank you for listening to the Joe Kilgallon podcast. Don't forget, if you're not already, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Click that bell icon for notifications. I've been posting like 5 to 6 new videos a week, clips from the podcast. I found an old stand-up clip. Not old, but one I haven't posted yet. It's only from like 2 years ago today, so check that shit out. You can listen to my albums on Spotify and Apple and all that other good stuff. And don't forget about the Patreon, patreon.com/Joe Kilgallon. For Caitlin Marco, thank you very much, Caitlin.
Thank you for
Everyone,
having
make sure
me.
you follow her on Instagram. That's at Mad Dog Marco on Instagram. Thank you guys so much. Cheers.